start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 believe. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the one for me. You just believe, you just believe, you just believe, you just believe.
Yo, people, welcome back to another stream. Why do I sound so American right now? It's been a while, man. It's been a while, or it's been at least a couple of days. A lot's happened. We beat Manchester United in the derby. Absolutely class weekend. I was there. I did a vlog. It's over on City Extra. Had a great time. Who have we got in the building, man? And who has hit the like button already? We got Letty says smash the like button on your way in, Blues. Exactly. Hit the like button. The goal is always 50. Let's see how fast we can hit 50. Big up Bree. How much rubbish do we reckon the Foden to Madrid this summer stories today are? We're going to get into that, Bree. Don't you worry. Big up Jaden. Big up Loudmouth Football. Big up Daniel Thompson. And big up Alec Johnson. Big up all of you. Some new names there. Some regulars as well. You're all very welcome to get involved in tonight's discussion. Letty says, hi, Hugh and Joe. Hello, Letty. Welcome to the show. Hope you're all doing very well. Hope you all enjoyed the derby weekend. Hope all the heads weren't too bad. What day is today? Today's Tuesday. Yesterday. So I hope there weren't too many heavy hangovers. I know I had one. I did. I went out, Joe. I brought my missus to her first ever derby. She's a City fan. Her family are all City fans. I brought her to her first ever derby. I managed to find her a ticket. I was buzzing. I got her a ticket. She had a great time. We decided to go out of Manchester, and you know, I was feeling a bit worse for wear. Yesterday. But in the name of the derby, man. In the name of the derby, it's all worth it. But listen, like I said, I hope you're all doing very well, and you're all welcome back to the HMTV channel. I hope you're all enjoying Joe's videos. I saw a great review. Hello, Puneet. Good to see you, my brother. Channel member, Puneet. If anybody wants to be like Puneet and be a channel member, there's a link in the chat now. Anyways, enough waffle. Just hit the like button, and I'll stop the waffling. Manchester derby. We did a panel show earlier on, Joe, on City Extra, but this is our show. This is just me and you, the live podcast, the late night chats. A tale of two halves. Would you say a tale of two halves? Because I thought we played quite well in the first half, but it had that kind of typical City, or not typical City anymore, but like it had that feeling of it could be one of those days. I know Martin on the panel show was like, nah, he was confident, and I respect that, and that's the way Martin feels. But you know, I was there in the south stand, and I just had this bad gut feeling at half time where I was like, this, unless we click into gear in the second half, it could go a bit wrong.
Well, I understand where you're coming from because of like previous games against Man United. They never seem to quite go to plan very often. Even when you look at, I mean, last year was sort of the epitome of it could only happen to us, like at Old Trafford. That sort of shit can only happen to us, where it's so far offside and all that other drama. And then, like you said, to go 1-0 down it was a sucker punch, wasn't it? Because they were just not in the game. Like, they weren't in the game. That was their first chance going forward. And I guess it says more about how I see the team at the moment, where the fact that when Rashford did put it in, when he scored, I wasn't angry, I wasn't upset, I was calm. Like, even though it's a world-class finish, we're 1-0 down, they've just sat and parked the bus. It's going to be a nightmare to try and break it down. I was still confident in this team, even when going 1-0 down to a team playing that defensive of a style of football. Like, I understand maybe in the ground it felt different. I mean, it's a question that I actually wanted to ask because you mentioned on the panel show, you know, the whole crowd helping with the second and third goal. As soon as we get the first, it elevates. Like, was there a feeling in general in terms of the crowd that, you know, there was this nervous feeling, or, you know, was everybody a little bit on edge when they won 1-0? Was, you know, what was the general feeling in the stadium? Because I feel like when it went 1-0, I feel that it was a tale of two halves, because I thought we started rushing things. I thought everything became too fast paced, like we were trying to force, you know, will our way back into the game by trying to force things, and it just wasn't working. We were playing too quick, and that's happened before this season. But was that a feeling in the crowd? I can't tell, but you were there.
Yeah, it did, and I think because when you're there, or probably it's the same when you watch it on TV. To be fair, this kind of thing, and you're in that moment, like you're there, you're present at that moment in time, I should say. You're focusing too much on what's not working, if that makes sense. You become hyper focused on what's not working and how badly some things are going. Like, with all due respect, like Jeremy Doku really didn't offer us a huge amount. I thought he was quite poor. Obviously the Haaland missed chance, and then it just felt like at the time every cross we put in, Onana just caught with ease. Onana saved that shot just inside the post from Rodri. And when just when you're there and you're in that feeling, and you don't know the outcome, obviously, because it hasn't happened yet, you're like, oh shit, because could this be one of those days, man? Could this just be one of those days where we look back and go, it didn't go our way, or we didn't take our chances, or we didn't do enough? Then obviously the second half happens, and what happened. But he says Doku's getting unnecessary hate. It's not hate, man. It's not hate to analyze a player's performance and to not be satisfied with the performance on the day. That's not us saying we think Doku's a bad player. I think Doku is going to be an exceptional player for us, but the amount of responsibility that's been put on Doku's shoulders this season probably surpasses what it was meant to be. He's a player who came from France, where he played 1,000 minutes last season, to be thrown into a Manchester City team, the best team in the world, where he's now playing almost every single week through injuries, through, you know, whatever, one reason or another. He was probably never in the plan for Doku to play this much, and that's probably why he's having performances where he's just not adapted yet. He's not ready for it yet. He's not embedded into our system and the tactics and Pep Guardiola just yet. So it's not hate on Doku. It's just he shouldn't be in that position where there's massive responsibility on him week in, week out. If Jack Grealish is fit, Jack Grealish starts that derby. I have absolutely no doubt. But yeah, look, it's not hate on Doku. It just is what it is. Like, me and Joe have full faith. I think what most City fans do. We've learned from your Mahrez's and Rodri's and Gundos and these kind of players, then Jack Grealish, that it takes time. So no different for Doku. But look, second half was all about Phil Foden. We have to have a good conversation about Phil Foden, man. This guy is he's just wow. He's just wow, and like it was almost like a bit emotional after the game when I was deeping, and when City fans are saying it too, and they're deeping what we witnessed. Like, it's the stuff of dreams to have one of your own, really and truly one of your own, a player City through and through, in the academy since he's 8. Makes his way into the first team, shrugs off all the criticisms of his decisions to stay at the club when he should have gone elsewhere, and he deserves more game time. To see him this season, really and truly, take the reins on this team and just be the main man in our team, and then to top it off by this stage of the season with 2 goals in the derby. Like I said to you on the panel show earlier on, Joe, didn't I, that I never lost faith we were going to win that game. I always felt we were going to win that game, but we needed that one little moment of magic, that one little, I don't know, something to ignite the flame that became what it became. And for Phil Foden to deliver it, like, he's next level, Phil Foden, man. He really is.
Yeah, well, the goal, I know you say typical City, but the goal felt like it was coming because the approach from United just wasn't sustainable. like, it goes back to Taylor Two Halves again, where they defended so well. Like, I will give them a bit of credit. They defended really well in that first half, but that second half is just not sustainable for 90 minutes. And while it took a little bit of a moment, because the goal was, I mean, outside of the box. Like, Onana didn't look like he was getting beat before that. And then all of a sudden he's letting goals in left, right and centre. But sometimes, like you said, only takes a moment. And that moment, of course, is Phil Foden's moment. But the thing that I don't think a lot of people have been talking about, at least outside of, you know, the City space, is the lift of the crowd. As soon as that first goal goes in, it erupts. It absolutely erupts. Everyone's going bonkers. Everyone's going absolutely mental. And it helps with the second and third goal, because after that, it's just an onslaught. United barely got a kick. I don't think they touched the ball out of their own half. Like, that's how bad it was. That's how much that goal did. That goal completely flipped the game on its head. And then we go on and win. And that's sort of the whole not panicking thing of maybe some people were a little bit on edge, but at the end of the day, when you look back, especially in hindsight, when you look back on the game, the one thing you look at is go, you know, statistically and just based on the flow of the game, United were never in it. It was always going to happen. They played a dangerous game, trying to sit back and just protect a 1-0. They played a dangerous game. And, I mean, listen, there's not many words you can use to describe Phil Foden. Like, you run out of words trying to describe him. I said on my review, and I really liked this, that second goal, his second goal, he's moved Kevin De Bruyne out wide. Kevin De Bruyne has gone out onto the left, and he's moved into the middle. He's moved him out the way and gone, this is my space. Let me operate here. And he scored from it. Like, that is, he's telling senior players, you know, move out my way. This is my match. You know, move, let me do my thing. Like, that is something that not a lot of players in his position will have the character to be able to do that because of, you know, the stature of the players that he's playing with. But he's now taking games on himself. Like, he's taking it upon himself to change games, to win games. And he's winning games now. And I think it's ludicrous that he's been forced out onto the wing still. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I know it's a hard task to get everybody in the middle because Pep wants everybody in the middle, but you have to find a way. I'm sorry, you've got to find a way.
Jerry says Phil's been our most clutch performer this season. He filled the whole Gundo left. I think that's a fair statement. I really do. I think that's a fair statement. And something you touched in on there, Joe, is it's quite significant to see from 23-year-old Phil Foden. He's 24 in May. We forget how young he is. You know what I mean? We really do, because he's been around so long. Like, I'm watching Phil Foden myself since he's 14, 15. I remember his first game for the club, first team, a derby game in pre-season, and he's up on the pitch. He's on the pitch against Paul Pogba and these kind of guys out in America. And we're all like, yeah, we know this kid's got serious talent and serious ability. Gets into the first team, you know, he grows, he develops, he progresses, and he learns off all those great players, and he wins all those trophies with those great players. But it was quite a significant moment to see Phil Foden doing what you said, taking up De Bruyne's space. And it wasn't a disrespectful thing to Kevin De Bruyne. It was just more so, look, I back myself. I'm feeling it today. De Bruyne, like, I think De Bruyne had a decent game. I don't think De Bruyne was bad, but it definitely wasn't one of those magical Kevin De Bruyne days where everything he touched turns to gold, which he does have very often, but it just wasn't. So Foden not shrugged him aside, but said, I'm going to take up this space and I'm going to take the reins here. That's audacity, but that's confidence. Confidence mixed with audacity and ability. It's a very dangerous prospect for any defense to go up against. He's pure class, Alec. He is. He's pure and utter class. I believe he's the best player in Europe right now, based on form. I'm not saying he's the best player in Europe, full stop, because that's always a very controversial thing to say about anybody. But I think based on form and consistency, he's the best player in Europe right now. And I also believe in the Manchester City first team squad, Phil Foden is the most gifted footballer. He's the most gifted, technically gifted footballer. The things he can do with the ball, the way he reads the game, his speed of thought, his tricks, his flicks, his flair, everything in the Phil Foden package, for me, he's just a joy to watch. Steve said it the other day, and I've said it a few times myself as well. he is like one of the last remaining street footballers. Sancho's a street footballer, not as good as Phil Foden, but he's a street footballer. Who else is a street footballer? There's a few of them out there. There's not many left. Cristiano Ronaldo at the beginning of his career was a street footballer. And that's what Phil Foden is. He's just a joy to watch. I really do believe he's the most gifted footballer in this Manchester City squad, which may make him one of the most gifted, if not the most gifted footballer in the world right now. It's up to you to decide that. Foden is not there yet, isn't where he could be. That leads us on to the next thing, Joe, doesn't it? Where does he go? How high is the ceiling for Phil Foden if we're seeing him at 23 telling De Bruyne, I'm going to take up this space and I'm going to grab this goal? Seeing him running games on his own in the Premier League, the Champions League, turned up in Copenhagen a few weeks ago, bang, goals and assists, Manchester derbies, big Premier League crunch ties. Paqueta is a street footballer, Brie. He's a street footballer. Guys, there's 40 in the building, by the way. Make sure you've hit the like button, man. The goal's always 50. How high is the ceiling, man? How high is the ceiling for Phil Foden? I really want all of you to get involved in this, and Joe to get involved too, man. I think we have the sky's the limit. I think we've got something special. I know we do, but how special?
It's hard to put a label on where his ceiling is. Like, I feel like it's impossible. What can we say Ballon d'Or level? Is that achievable? Like, Ballon d'Or podium? Yeah. Like, that is what we're talking about right now, where he's had his best return, statistically, goals and assists in a season, and we've only just hit March. Like, and we're talking about this guy can get even better when he's already had his best return, and we're still a few months left to go in the season. Like, the amount of positions he can play, 8, 10, left, right, false 9. He's even filled out as a left back before. He filled out as a left back last season. Do you remember when I think we were 2-0 down, Crystal Palace at home? We were chasing the game. Phil Foden goes to left back, so he can stick an extra attacker on the pitch. Versatility, willingness to play any position for the manager. Like, it's not a one-off that, like, the one that gets me is after the derby, the second time to my memory, maybe even more, I can't remember, Pep Guardiola has mentioned him and Messi in the same sentence. It's not a fluke. That's happened multiple times. And this is the Pep Guardiola, the guy who moulded Messi, like was the early Messi guy, and he's saying, you know, Phil Foden and Messi in the same sentence. Like, it's no coincidence that this guy is, like, so up there. Like, it's unreal. I don't know where he can get to. I mean, the sky is the limit. I know he has the tattoo, but it really is the sky is the limit. Like, how high can he get? I don't think you can put a label on it. I really don't think you could put a label on it.
He's Pep Guardiola's Mank Messi. He is, and please don't pull that out of context, people. Don't rip that out of context. And when I'm saying Phil Foden is Messi, but he's Pep's version of Messi. Since arriving at Manchester City, the story is just so poetic as to how Pep Guardiola has nourished and developed Phil Foden. Like, I don't know how many of you know the story. I'm sure plenty of you probably do, about when Pep first arrived at Manchester City. One of the first things he did was he went with Tiki around the academy. They did a tour, blah, blah, blah. And Pep said, listen, point out to me some young players who you think might be worth looking at for me. First person, Tiki says, that young lad there, Phil Foden from Stockport, whatever, been with us since he's 8. I promise you, he's a special, special talent. And Pep Guardiola, the first look at him he had, he says, yep, he's coming up to the squad with me. He's coming straight into the squad with me as soon as he's ready. And it's just been an unbelievable progression since then. Like, the word generational gets thrown around ridiculously easy these times. Bukayo Saka's not generational. I'm sorry, he's not generational. There have been plenty of wingers and players who have come and gone and will come along in the future that have done and will be able to do more than what Bukayo Saka's done. There's not many players have come and gone in the past with the level of ability, understanding of the game, versatility, success that Phil Foden has had. He's a true generational footballer. He really is a true generational footballer. How do you quantify that? Well, you look at all the amazing Manchester City underage teams that have come and gone since Phil Foden joined our first team. How many of them have come close to Phil Foden levels? None. Look at Jadon Sancho, a very good player by all accounts. Look at him now. Brahim Diaz is doing decent at Real Madrid. He's not generational. Cole Palmer, look at him. Liam Delap, look at him. Those Nemecha guys, look at them. These are all really good players by all accounts. But none of them are Tommy Doyle, James McAtee. None of them scrape the barrel when it comes to the level of ability that Phil Foden has. He's a true generational footballer. And look, let's call a spade here, people. Let's be real. If Phil Foden was togging out in Anfield for Liverpool every week, or togging out in the Emirates like Saka does every week for Arsenal, or togging out like Garnacho does every week for United, and putting in these level of performances for them, I'm sorry, he would be up there with Ballon d'Or shouts right now. They'd be talking about Phil Foden like we have the next fucking Cristiano Ronaldo, or the next Wayne Rooney, or the next Messi. Because Phil Foden wears a blue shirt, he simply will not get the level of plaudits he really and truly deserves. He won't. The fact that people actively believe there's a debate between who's better, Saka or Foden, the fact people actually believe there's a debate there is the telltale that Foden is not getting the level of praise he deserves. Phil Foden is significantly, and I don't just mean he's a bit better, he's significantly clear of Bukayo Saka as an overall footballer. I believe that wholeheartedly. I don't care what stats you show me. I don't care what numbers you show me from Bukayo Saka. I watch football with my eyes. Watch the game with your eyes. Watch Phil Foden with your eyes. Phil Foden is one of those players, one of the very few players in the world that you would genuinely pay money to go and watch just because of him. Just because of him. Would you take money out of your pocket to go and watch Bukayo Saka? Specifically, no. I would even take my Manchester City cap off. I would pay money to just go and watch Phil Foden. Because he's poetry in motion when he's in top form. Poetry in motion. The way he glides along the surface. The way he sends players to the shops. The way he strikes the ball. The way he reads the game. His link-up play with other players. Phil Foden deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as the very best. The very best. I'm telling you, man, he's a true generational footballer. Guys, do us a massive favor. Make sure you've all hit the like button. We're going to keep chatting about all this because I enjoy this conversation. Make sure you've all hit the like button. Let's get up to 40 likes as soon as possible. And subscribe if you're new around here. There's a link in the chat if anybody wants to become a channel member like Puneet and Jerry McCune. You're just helping out me and Joey Boy, and you'll get a nice badge beside your name, and we'll make you a channel moderator as well as a token of appreciation. If we win major trophies this season, which I believe we will, I don't know which ones, I don't know how many, could be all, could be none. Phil Foden will take a massive amount of credit for it. And it may be for the first time where we'll look at major trophy success and go, Phil Foden's fingerprints are all over those. What do you think, Joe?
I think if we win the Premier League, he wins Premier League Player of the Season. Personally. I think if we end up this season winning the league, Phil Foden will be like the first name up for grabs for Premier League Player of the Season. He has to be. Like, we don't go through that period in the first part of the season without Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, Alvarez helped as well, but we don't go that first part of the season without Phil Foden. Like, playing out of his mind. And then even now, when Kevin De Bruyne is still coming back to fitness, he's still got a while to go. Like, again, I totally agree with your point that I think in the Derby game, it was a little bit hit or miss from Kevin De Bruyne. Like, he's still getting back to fitness because he spent so long away from football that he's still got a little bit of fine-tuning to do. Phil Foden's still on it. He's still that guy. Like, we're talking, we're moving on from sort of title talk and sort of moving on to bigger picture. Like, individual awards. Like, that is what we're talking about. End of season, what's he going to get? Like, Player of the Season. Can he still win Young Player of the Season? I don't know. I think so.
He can, yeah.
So, I mean, there's always the chance of that, and there are some pundits out there who do give him his credit. The most frequent bit of praise that I've heard about him is usually something along the lines of he's the most talented footballer England have ever produced. Like talent-wise, he's the most talented player that England have ever produced. That's about as good as it gets. There's no City-based praise in there whatsoever. They just kind of neglect that side and go, oh, well, it's a good team. I suppose that's kind of the thinking. It's a good team. It's a well-oiled machine. That sort of thing, which is a little bit disrespectful, to be honest, because, he's carried us this season. He's carried us to being this close, and now we've got all our players back and he's still doing it. He's still the main guy at the moment. This is his team. This season, this is his team. He's been constantly fit, constantly available, and winning those games. This is his team this season.
It is. That's why I said, and I believe it's true, that whatever we win this season, Phil Foden's fingerprints will be all over them, and fully deserved. There's 50 of you in the building now, which is absolutely sick. Just do us a massive favor and hit the like button. The goal is 50 likes, as always, on this stream. So if we hit 50 likes, it'd be massively, massively appreciated. One of the biggest telltales as to why Foden doesn't get the praise he deserves, and if you just deep it for a second, do you remember Marcus Rashford, people? When he burst onto the scene, what is it, 6-7 years ago now, when he was 19, 20, whatever it was. He's 26 now. He burst onto the scene. The level of hype I was seeing around Marcus Rashford and this prodigy that has come out of the Manchester United academy. Scores on his debut, scores on his Derby debut. Rashford's going to the moon. Rashford's going to get Manchester United back to the top. Rashford. He's feeding the kids. He's doing everything. He's sending letters to the Prime Minister and he's scoring goals. What a guy. Look at the state of Marcus Rashford now. I won't discredit his goal. It's a worldie of a goal. But his performance in the derby outside of that goal, horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. He's playing left wing back at one stage, getting absolutely rinsed by Kyle Walker. He was bullied by Diaz and Walker. The level of hype we saw around Marcus Rashford back then was way ahead of anything you see for Phil Foden. And Phil Foden is 10, 20 times the player that Marcus Rashford is. We're talking light years ahead of what Marcus Rashford is. How can you explain that to me? How can you tell me that the media and the general public jump on a Rashford hype train to the level they did, but won't give it for Phil Foden? You saw Rashford walking off with his tail between his legs on the pitch the other day. Pep high-fived him as if to say, cheers for that, mate. Good day. And Phil Foden ran that game. He ran that game. He bitched up Manchester United.
He's a victim of the system around him. I will give him a little bit of slack, Rashford, that he burst onto the scene, like you said, 6 years ago. He's played non-stop football through various injuries for 6 years. That's hampered his career. Like you mentioned before at the start of the show, that Pep Guardiola has managed Foden so well because he's given him minutes here and there. He's given him a few opportunities here and there to, get a little bit of experience, but he's managed him. A lot of people were maybe frustrated in the beginning because he didn't play too much, and people were thinking, why is he not playing Pep? Just play him. And now look at him. And now look at Rashford when he played every single week. He's a totally different player. The hype's gone.
The hype is gone. They're now talking about selling Marcus Rashford. Listen, we'll park Foden there for the minute. He's unbelievable, and I think he's got a big performance in him again this Sunday. I think he's going to do something magical in Anfield, because Foden knows what it means. Foden really and truly knows what it means to be a Man City fan. He knows what it means to us. He knows what it means to the city of Manchester. He knows what it means to the club. These games, these trophies, these moments. And he's proven he's well up to it now. So I'm looking forward to watching him in Anfield on Sunday. But just really quickly on United and the state of them, they're a joke. They are an absolute disgrace of a football club, an absolute disgrace of a manager, an absolute disgrace of a team, absolute disgrace of a captain, and an absolute disgrace of a performance. They are a total and utter embarrassment. If that is what a big club looks like, if that is how a big club operates, I never want to be a big club. I'd rather be what we are now. I'd rather be the smallest big club in the world, or the biggest small club in the world, whatever the term is. I never, ever want to be like that. Imagine being a big club, and all you do is tell people you're a big club. You put all your energy into telling people and reminding people of how big you are. And you turn up in a derby against your fiercest rivals who have bitched you up for the last 10 years. Your little brother's become bigger than you and he's bullying you. And you turn up to that fight and you sit with 10 men on the edge of the box like a little bitch. Big club. I never want to be big. Never want to be big. That Eric Ten Hag, how the fuck's he still in a job, mate? How is he still in a job? Era's come to an end. He thought he could challenge Klopp and Pep. The guy hasn't even got a style of football. I don't know what I'm looking at when I look at Manchester United. I don't know what's going on. What are they meant to be doing? Are they a counter-attacking team? I thought he was going to bring the Ajax way with him. I thought he was going to be bringing Johan Cruyff philosophy. I thought we had something to be worried about. Spent a fuckload of money too to supplement it. Fucking losers. Absolute windbag losers. And I love it. Don't ever let us be a big club, because big clubs are shit these days.
I just say it smiling. It's phenomenal hearing. Like, I don't get it. Like, that is comfortably one of, if not the worst away performances from a team coming to us that I have ever seen. Ever. Apart from one moment of magic where Rashford just put one in off the crossbar from 30 yards, which if he tried to replicate next week could go into row Z. Apart from that, they did sweet fuck all. They did nothing. They did absolutely nothing. They weren't in the game. Like, it's embarrassing to sit with 10 men behind the ball. Era's come to an end and all of this shit. His era's coming to an end. Did you see what has been reported this week? He's got the next 3 games to save his job. Like, he's on the verge of being sacked. I hope he doesn't get sacked because he's a bag of shite.
Whoever the next 3 games are, this is a public appeal to let Manchester United win those next 3 games. Save Ten Hag. We need to get this going on Twitter. Hashtag save Ten Hag. We need to keep this guy in a job because it's magnificent. It's magnificent. And then you had United fans who spent the week building up to that game, telling us how big they are, how superior they are, how Manchester's red, how we'll never be like them, and yada, yada, yada. Coming back after the game saying, oh, well, you only beat us. It's no big deal. You only beat us. Make your fucking mind up. Are you a big dominant powerhouse, or are you a bunch of losers? Because we've hit you for 6 now this season. We battered you 3-0 in your place and then slapped you up 3-1 in ours too, and gave you a glimmer of hope just to think you were getting something 1-0. Make your fucking mind up. Absolute windbags.
Like,
we've totally taken Manchester, and there's no sight of them coming to get us. No sight. And the most embarrassing thing about the whole situation is the week building up to it. We're a big club, but we take a 2-1 loss. Shut the fuck up. I remember when I was younger, and I was 8, 9, 10 years old going to school, before we were any good, and my whole class supports Manchester United, and they'd be telling me we're going to slap City this weekend. We got Tevez, Rooney, Ronaldo. We're going to slap City. And I'd be saying, no, Richard Dunn has something for you. No, fucking Stephen Ireland has something for you. No, Benjani has something for you. I come with chest. I in back of my head, I know we're getting slapped up, but I'm coming with chest. And you're telling me 1.2 billion Manchester United are saying they take a 2-1 loss and also saying they're a big dominant club. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Big club, big losers.
Like, it's ridiculous hearing some of the quotes as well. Like, Ten Hag is completely like, I'd even argue out of his depth at this point. He said, I remember because I still had the Sky Sports on after the match ended, just to hear some of the stuff, because obviously it was Roy Keane and Gary Neville, and they can be quite critical sometimes. And, Ten Hag did his press conference. He said they have another 2 or 3, 4 opportunities to score. I don't know what game he is watching where he thinks they had another 2 or 3 opportunities to score, but he's not watching the same game that we all watched.
Mate,
Because
he
they
needs to stop
didn't.
checking the stats. He needs to stop checking stats and check into a fucking mental asylum because his brain's not working. I'm sorry, his brain's not fucking working. I don't know how he can come away from that game and say anything other than we're a disgrace. A fucking derby. Like, have derbies lost the meaning to that club? You do in a derby, you go and give it your all. Honestly, I hate them. I fucking hate them. They set me off. They're an absolute shambles of a fan base, shambles of a club. They don't know their left from their right. They don't know their arse from their head. Pack of losers. Sorry, Joe, go on.
Big up Saeed, though. He tells you how it is. He's had enough of Ten Hag. He's had enough. He's seen the light.
Saeed's one of the very few United fans who keeps it fucking real. He says it how it is. He calls it how it is. He has standards. He knows they're an absolute disgrace. But the United fans out there that still believe that people give a shit about Manchester United Football Club, I'm sorry, they don't. No one gives a shit. No one cares. And Saeed knows that. That's why it hurts Saeed. He knows they're becoming just a laughingstock, a banter club. And I hate that phrase, but they are. No one's afraid when United come to town. Back in the day, 15 years ago, everywhere United went, they struck fear. Everyone's going, oh, Jesus, we have United this weekend. They're going to batter us. Everyone welcomes United, and everyone looks forward to a trip to Old Trafford. Because there's a very good chance you're going to beat them.
And that's the reality. A lot of them don't want to admit that is the level that they have dropped to. Blaming referees for should have had this decision, that decision. The one that I saw was, the two that I saw is the dive from Rashford for the equaliser. He feels an arm, he feels a hand on his arm and he falls on his ass. Dive. And then you got Goldbridge screaming at the top of his lungs, saying the referee's an idiot, and that's a foul. Ten Hag saying the same thing. Contact is minimal, but it's a foul. It's not. It's just not. And then for the Ederson tackle on Garnacho, he couldn't have got more of the ball if he tried. But apparently it's reckless and should have been a penalty. Like, what are we watching here? If a goalkeeper comes out and makes a tackle and gets the ball? Like, what, is he not allowed to do that? Is he supposed to, I think you said it on Twitter, is he supposed to just stand there and let him have a shot? Like, what's he supposed to do? Like, it's ridiculous, and that is the standard that they're setting for themselves now. The standard that they are setting for themselves now is It's mediocre with the things that they're saying, and the referees this, referees that, and, they probably expected to lose this game. But they gave it chest. They said, well, you're not going to beat us. And then, again, like you said, when it happened, it was only us. Like, they are becoming, I don't want to say a small club because you can't label United as a small club, but they are, dipping down in the standings. They are significantly dipping down.
They're just a joke, man. They're just a joke. And this expected to lose bollocks, I don't buy into. I'm sorry, I just don't. You talk about really mediocre Man City teams that have beaten United, and not just beaten them because it was a fluke, beaten them twice. United in their Champions League winning season, 2008, we beat them twice that season. Benjani debut, the famous celebration. I'm sure some of you will remember that. We beat them twice that season because we weren't going there into these games going, oh, we're going to get pumped. We knew our players, our club, were going to at least fight for the badge, at least fight for the club, at least fight for us. Those pack of losers wearing Manchester United shirts don't know the meaning of a derby, don't know the meaning of what it is to fight for a club, don't know the meaning of pride. We've always had pride. We've always been full of pride. No matter how bad or good we've been, we were always full of pride. 3 likes away from 50, man. Make sure you've all hit the like button. There's a link in the chat now. Anybody wants to become a channel member, we'll make you a moderator for the channel, and you get a nice badge beside your name, like Jerry McCune and Puneet there. Big up to all of you who are joining us. I just fucking hate them. I really, really hate them. I never lose the feeling of satisfaction for beating them. I don't care how crap they get. I don't care how low they are. I will always take pleasure from beating them and embarrassing them and humbling them further. Always. Period. You can call me bitter all you want. I am bitter. I hate them. I can't stand them. I always want to beat them. I get nearly the same amount of satisfaction from beating them as I do from getting a trophy. In fact, it's almost on the same level, just in a different way. This is a more of a sick way, like a more nasty, twisted way. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. And I'm so glad we beat them.
It stems, doesn't it? Because it was probably different for you because I'm a late bloomer into football. But when you were growing up, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say bullying. It wasn't that bad. But like the teasing and the mocking, that sort of stuff when you're growing up. Because I assume you were surrounded by a load of United fans because they were the club.
Mate, it was...
growing up, you ask anyone who, grew up in sort of the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, or maybe even early 90s, who supported City, like, ask them what school was like, they'll tell you.
I know, man. I know. Big up Patrick Gannon, man, in the chat. Paddy knows me years. Paddy knows me a long, long time now, and he knows I fucking hate Manchester United. I can't stand them. Good to see you in the chat, Pat, man. Good to see you. We hit 50 likes, Joe, man. Let's hit our random applause. All right. A random applause for 50 likes. Big up to all of you for hitting 50 likes. And as always, the member chat link, or the member link is there as always if any of you want to support us further, and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's park those mutants there for now. I don't want to give them any more airtime. We've humbled them. We've battled them twice this season. Back to fucking Salford you go, and we'll see you next season for another pumping. They're the biggest whores in Manchester. One night stand. You pump them and you send them off. You never speak to them again till next year. Let's move on. To Anfield. Anfield awaits. Big up Heather O'Connor, man. Good to see you, Heather. Hope you're doing well. Anfield awaits. I hate them too. I'm full of hate, man.
Hate watch. We're back.
Hate them too. No, I don't hate them as much as I hate United. But look, it's the biggest game of the season. Absolutely huge game coming up this Sunday. The last dance, Pep versus Klopp, at least Premier League wise. I'm sure they'll try to smash our bus. I'm sure they'll try every trick in the book. As I said to you on the panel show earlier on, Joe, one of my Liverpool mates said he believes the game is won. It'll be won before a ball is kicked because, Anfield, and all that. I think we're going there to win. I believe we are going to Anfield to win. We have never had to go to Anfield to win. You know what I'm saying? It's not something we've ever had to do because we always play at Anfield in the first half of the season. Typically, the first half of the season is when we're a bit slow, a bit inconsistent, a bit kind of finding our way, a lot of experimenting going on. Pep has his lab coat on, etc., etc. Now it's business time. Pep's standing on business now. We're starting to see consistency in the starting 11. I think you said this earlier on. With the exception of the left wing, through injuries and that, we're starting to see consistency in the starting 11. You can kind of start to make out who Pep's, what I would call, championship team is. You know what I mean? His main dogs that he wants on the pitch. I think we've got something for them. And it's a must win. I think we all agreed on the panel show earlier on that if we don't win, or if we lose, it's close to curtains. It's close to curtains.
Like, disaster may be harsh, but it'll be what it'll feel like. Because it's 100% undeniably a must not lose. But it is kind of a must win as well because of... Look, the only way that we will be in charge of our own destiny in this Premier League title race is if we beat them. The only way that, we can only lose the title based on us is if we beat them. If we don't beat them, even if it's a draw, we're relying on them to slip up because we'll still be behind them. And that's the reality of the situation. That's why a win would be massive, because obviously psychologically it's a stumbling block. But to put the Premier League title back in our hands, that's massive. Because then all we've got to do is do our job. We've got Arsenal after that at home, another big game, another title rival. We beat them. I think you'll start to see the falling away of Arsenal. And then after that, it's just business as usual. Last sort of 8-9 games, go on your run. And that is why you can argue it's a must-win. Because winning is just huge. So big if we win that game. But a loss is disastrous. So I'd say a draw is not the end of the world. It's not ideal, but it's definitely not the end of the world. But, I mean, I'm sort of confident because you say your Liverpool mate's been going on about, you know, ball before a ball's even kicked, the game is won. I mean, Spurs away, we scored and won there this season. It's the first time for everything.
Big up Martin, man, with the £5 super chat. Thanks a million, Martin. He says, a little something for your passionate speech, you. Bravo, quality. When you get me into a flow, Martin, I have to let it all out. You know what I mean? I have to let it all out. I have to vent my thoughts. And you guys, the fantastic community we have here at HMTV, I try to give you my best versions of my thoughts and articulate myself as best as possible for you guys, because you're the OGs, man. You're the original community that helped me get into the YouTube community, helped me become a content creator. So, look, all of you, as always, big up Martin for the super chat, but big up all of you for joining us and supporting me and Joe, supporting Joe's videos and all that. It means a lot that we get to share these conversations with you lot. So yeah, thanks again, Martin. Thank you to all of you for joining us. But yeah, look, with Anfield, I believe from our perspective, the league is won in the next 2 games. Now, I'm refraining from saying the league is won and lost in the next 2 games. I believe the league is won in the next 2 games. I think a draw in one, or a win and a win in the other, or vice versa, or there's combinations you can work out where it's not totally disastrous and we totally lose the league. If we win both games, and I'm not a believer in overlooking games, I'm not jumping to, they're not a combined package. They're 2 totally different entities, 2 totally different games. If we win both, win at Anfield and beat Arsenal at the Emirates, I believe we will win the league. I believe we'll go on and win the league, as Martin says quite regularly, by 3, 4, 5 points. Because at that point, I think we just get into unstoppable form. I think the momentum and this will click into that city champions mode, into that gear that nobody else has. Win both, I think, like I said, we'll win the league, but lose at Anfield makes life very difficult. It makes life very, very difficult for us. Then you have Arsenal coming to the Etihad 2 weeks later to play against a wounded City, and Arsenal will have their tails up, won't they? So there's a huge, huge amount riding on this game. We need Pep to get it right tactically. You'd expect him to. He's got it right tactically for me a lot recently. And as I said, you can kind of make out what Pep's team is looking at like these days. But look, like you see that chance Haaland missed against United. Can't have him really missing that at Anfield. You see that performance Kevin De Bruyne put in against United? It needs to be 10-15% better at Anfield. Foden, you need to keep doing your thing. Rodri, you need to keep doing your thing. That high defensive line that United were lobbing balls in over on top of, and we're getting a little bit of joy in the first half, it's got to be more watertight. It's got to be more secure and less susceptible, because they're going to have a refreshed Mo Salah coming back, and we know how devastating he is against our high lines. We experienced that in Anfield last season. Remember, Cancelo got spun. I don't believe for a second Salah's been injured as long as he has been. I think they've been holding him back a little bit, maybe a week or 2, like the way we've done with Ruben Diaz before, we've done with John Stones before, we've done with Kevin De Bruyne before. They've been holding him back for this. So, do you know what I mean, Joe?
Well, season's on the line. See, season's on the line. There's no other way to describe it. This is, for both teams, a loss will feel like the end of the world almost. Because if Liverpool lose, they're knocked off top spot. And they're in the same position they've been in years gone by. where they may lose out by a point or two, which is, again, it's heartbreaking. They've been there before, and they're staring it down the barrel if they lose. And the other way around for us, if we lose, the gap's 4 points. That's 2 games that we will need them to drop points in. And that's if we go perfect for the rest of the season as well. And we'd require them to not win 2 games just to, be up there. Like, a loss for either team is just so one end of the scale that a draw isn't the end of the world for both teams. I think the way Liverpool will look at it is if they draw, it's still in their hands. And the way that we'll look at it if it's a draw is it's only a point still. And we will believe that they will slip up. We will just believe that something will catch up to them because, we're going to have to hope because that's the only thing we'd have left. But, it's so crucial. This is season defining. The next 2 weeks is even Camp Copenhagen. Now, I know we're 2 goals clear. But, getting through in the Champions League, playing both of our title rivals, 1 away, 1 at home, Champions League draw after that, got Newcastle in the Cup after that. It's crunch time. That's the season on the line in the next 3 weeks. The whole season's on the line.
This month, the remainder of this month is going to shape our season. It's going to define what route we're going down in April and May. Are we chasing? Are we trying to redeem? Are we trying to claw back? Are we trying to sustain, lead? Or are we in a great position? And so on and so forth. A draw wouldn't be the worst thing in the world because, as you say, it's still only a point. And you don't want... It's not... I can't imagine it being a nice position to be in, being 1 point ahead of Manchester City in a title run-in. With us literally breathing down your neck. That big blue shark that we all talked about last season is snapping. It's foaming at the mouth to catch your heels. It's a fragile position to be in where if you slip up just once, you're going to be caught. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but a loss, you're kind of going, it's not ideal. I believe we're going to win. We've come too far with this team over the years. We've experienced too much. We've achieved too much for us to believe otherwise. I feel for me, it would be disrespectful to Pep and to this group of players to believe in anything other than a win. Because they've proven when it matters the most, we turn up and we do what we need to do. This Sunday, it matters the most. We must turn up and do what we need to do. We must do our thing. Now, is this Liverpool team as good as or better than Liverpool teams that we've shrugged off or caught or beat in years gone by? No. I think on paper we are a better team than Liverpool. I really do. So once again, it comes back to us being our own biggest obstacle. If we turn up and play Real Madrid level form last season, Derby form, 3-0 Old Trafford this season, and a few other ones, I think we beat them. I think an early goal, silence that place, because they're going to be absolutely raucous. They are. That's one thing they will have, is they'll be fucking raucous. An early goal, shut those Scousers up, and then get into the zone, Joe. Get into the zone and do our thing.
Well, there's a lot of variables just in the rage button, this game in general. We know firsthand from last season's perspective the effects that emotion can have on a team's performance. You look at Arsenal last season. They were so emotionally unstable that it cost them. They were so overly emotional and caught up in the moment that it cost them in the end. They got far too wrapped up in mental battles and they lost their heads. And there is so much emotion going into this game on Sunday because, again, like you said, it's Klopp versus Pep. Last dance for this fixture in English football. Maybe last chance, ever. You never know what's going to happen later in the line. No one can tell you that in football. But for the foreseeable, this is the last time they're going to play against each other, manage against each other at Anfield. That crowd is going to be one of the noisiest that it's ever been because they know a big result there and they're almost home and dry. They know that.
Mhm.
But what they don't want to be caught doing, which brings me back to the Arsenal point, is getting too wrapped up in the occasion, getting too emotional, because that can cost them. If they let their emotions get the better of them and take over the game, it could cost them the game. And that game could cost them the league. So there's a lot riding on it. A lot can go wrong for both teams. And it's going to be a battle. I'm not looking forward to it. I believe we can win. Because like I said, there's a first time for everything. But it's going to be a disgusting game of football. It's going to be a horrible, horrible game.
The nerves will be strong, man. The nerves will be heavy. Oh, look at Briggsy, man, with his new members badge. That's so sick, man. I love that. Look at that chat. Look at Harry Briggsy with his new members badge. He's 1 month a member now. Big up Harry Briggsy, man. The first ever member of the HMTV channel. Our first ever channel member. He says, hello, boys. Home from Hull City work. Let's go. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. sesh, and then Anfield as well, Sunday. Briggsy, you're one lucky man if you have a ticket to Anfield. I've been trying to find a ticket, but I don't think I'm going to get one at this stage. That's sick, though. I love the badge. It looks sick beside your name, Briggsy. I'm sorry I couldn't catch you on Sunday. Anybody wants to be like Briggsy and get a badge beside their name and become a channel moderator, the link is in the chat now. You're just helping supporting two average blues, myself and Joe, making videos and podcasts for you guys on a weekly basis. So yeah, the link's there if anybody wants to help us out. But big up Briggsy, man. Good to see you, brother. We will do Liverpool, of that I am certain. Crowds won't bother City. We've played in many hostile ones. You have to rely on players like Nunez, Kovacic and Doku who haven't beat Liverpool to the Prem. I mean, Liverpool are relying on players who haven't beaten us to the Prem. You know what I mean? They're Nunez. He's never beaten us to anything. Or Community Shield, didn't he? He beat us to a Community Shield.
McAllister, Endo. They don't even have Alisson this weekend as well. That's huge. He's such a good goalkeeper. Like, that is a big miss. Like, both sides are relying on players who've never been in this position before to contribute. Like, we know this. We know that we've signed players that have never been in this position. That was the case. We knew that was the case before the season even started. But Liverpool are as well. Like, we're both in this sort of semi-transitional phase. You know, Klopp's leaving. There'll be a new manager. It's a completely new look Liverpool squad compared to years gone by when it's been the same core. You can say the same thing with us. We've let like 40 goals and assists walk out the door and replaced it with Jeremy Doku, who played 1,000 minutes. You know, a couple of other midfield players.
Yep, absolutely. I think the goalkeeper one is an interesting one for Liverpool. They've got Caoimhín Kelleher being nets on Sunday. He's obviously Irish, Caoimhín Kelleher, so I know a bit about him. Can't say I'm a genius with him, but I know a bit about him. It'll be interesting now to see how he reacts because he's never played in a game like this. There's nothing that can prepare you for a game like City Liverpool under Pep and Klopp. It's just a different ball game. It's played at a different speed. It's a different level of intensity, especially at Anfield. So I'd test him nice and early. I'd get our long shot specialists, De Bruyne, Foden, Rodri, get these guys to rain shots on Caoimhín Kelleher. Test his nerve. He's going to be nervous. He's going to wake up Sunday morning and be like, this is huge. You know what I mean? Alisson's a monster, and he saved them on many occasions against us. Do you have that bottle, Caoimhín Kelleher? Do you have that when Rodri's lining up a thunder bastard? Or De Bruyne decides he's going to have a whip? Or Foden pulls out something like he did against United? Yeah, I want Grealish back too, Alex. So the goalkeeper one is going to be big. It's going to be big. I just think we have it in us, man. I think it's happening. I think it's happening. I believe 4-peat's happening. I believe we're going to beat Liverpool on Sunday. As I said, it would be disrespectful to believe in anything other than a win for Manchester City this weekend. I have respect for Liverpool and what they've done over the years and how they've challenged us, but we are better than them. I'm sorry, we are better than them. On paper, we should be beating them. Long as we come correct and do our job and do what we need to do, I think we beat them, man. We're one like off 60, man. We're one like off 60. Let's get one person to hit the like button and get to 60. And subscribe if you are new around here. Joe's going to make short little videos out of these streams. So if you guys watch on playback and you don't want to watch a whole hour-long stream, that's cool. He'll like make little segment videos from these, which I think is pretty cool. Just want to let you guys know that. I think draw at Anfield will do if City beat Arsenal at home. we'll talk about Arsenal when the time comes. I don't want to get into the business of overlooking games, and one game at a time. I'm a firm believer in. But look, I think we're going to wrap it up there. We're streaming over an hour now. But yeah, it's been a good one, man. I really enjoyed that. The Derby weekend was a success. Copenhagen tomorrow. Me and Joe probably go live tomorrow at around 10:30, 11ish. To chat about the Copenhagen game anyway. And tomorrow we'll chat about the Foden to Madrid links. I saw some stories today linking Phil Foden to Real Madrid. So we'll chat about them and shut them down very quickly to give you a quick preview of what's going to be said. But yeah, listen, it's been absolutely sick chatting to all of you. Still 50 of you here. If you're watching on playback, hit the like button, subscribe, become a channel member. Just show love, man. Show love. Two Blues, myself and Joe, streaming videos, the whole lot, making content for you lot because we love doing it. We love getting to know you all. We love the regulars coming in. Alec, EH, Briggsy. Who else have we had that's a regular? Herbal's a regular. I think John Santos is a regular. Punit's a regular. Rosemarie. And we love them. And Martin, big up for the super chat. We love the new people coming in. If you're new, get involved, man. Get involved. Get involved. Join the community. Big up to each and every single one of you. We'll see you tomorrow after the Copenhagen game. I think I'm live at about 1 p.m. on City Extra with Jordan for a Copenhagen preview if you want to see a proper Copenhagen preview. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evenings, Blues. Stay safe. Look after each other. Good night and God bless. Wrap her up, Joseph.
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand.